Let's turn this table a little bit. I know that you have a great heritage, and not everyone listening has a heritage, and praise God, because you start the heritage. Somebody's got to start it.
Right.
You know, the heritage. It begins with somebody saying, I'm going to live for the Lord, I'm going to serve the Lord, and I'm going to teach my children the ways of God and go. But I think sometimes we're living off the heritage, many of us are, of our parents, grandparents, and I've heard a little bit of the story of yours. Tell us a little of your heritage.
Well, it's a real great story to me because, and it gives hope to people, I think. A couple of generations back, I had a great-grandmother who was a believer, but a great-grandfather who was not a Christian. And she had prayed for him for a long time. He had not come to the Lord. They moved from the East Tennessee to go out west and ended up in Oklahoma Territory. And she got sick and was dying. And so she said, please don't let me die in this wild Indian territory. And they sold their farm, got on a train in Fort Smith, and were going back to East Tennessee. And she began to die. They laid her out on the train. And we have all this written in a letter. And my granddad knelt down beside her, and she said, I'm going to die, and I want you to promise me two things. One, that you'll give your life to Christ, and they had two little children, and two, that you'll raise our children for Christ. And she died. And his testimony was that he stayed on his knees a long time and got up a Christian.
Wow.
And so he went back to Tennessee, buried his wife, married a Christian woman after that. They had several children. One of those was my granddad, who became a preacher. And my granddad had one son and daughter, my father, who became a preacher. My dad had 4 kids, and there are 3 of us boys. We're all preachers, and one sister who married a preacher. And now there are 17 grandchildren, and 10 of those at this point are pastors or missionaries in the ministry.
In some ministry.
In some ministry.
Yeah.
And the thing about this, I tell this every once in a while, Sammy, to wives who are praying for their lost husbands. And saying, we can't have a Christian home. We can't have a heritage because my husband is an unbeliever. Well, you just don't know. And so if you will be the one who faithfully walks with Christ, you never know. I mean, that's not that far removed. That's not that far away. And God has given quite a heritage and a sphere of influence for the Lord through our family that's just all by His grace, that came from one godly wife who prayed for her husband.
And I might say that your brother Tom was pastor of First Southern Baptist Church of Del City, which I'm guessing is probably the largest Southern Baptist church in Oklahoma, or one of the largest?
In Oklahoma, I think it probably was one of the largest for sure.
And then your brother-in-law.
He had an influence on our life before we knew you. I mean, it's interesting how the circle, you never know where it's going to lead.
And so all of that whole Oklahoma territory has been impacted and even spread. Here you're in Arkansas, just right next door. And I mean, just,
well, you know what's amazing? My dad pastored and ministered in 3 primary areas: in Kansas City, Missouri, Little Rock, Arkansas, and Oklahoma City. And the 3 of us boys, we realized this the other day. Jim is in Kansas City, I'm in Little Rock, and Tom's in Oklahoma.
Wow.
By the providence of God, He's kind of extended my dad's ministry, I think, and it's just interesting.
Now you did something. You told me right before we're here at the Cove at the Billy Graham Center, and you did something right before you came here that I thought was very interesting, and I think personally would be a great thing for any couple to do with their family. Tell us about what you did.
I'm telling you, we took my 88-year-old dad, who was a pastor, my brothers and I, and my sister last week on a 3-day road trip, and we drove 1,500 miles, primarily through Arkansas, and went to every church that my granddad pastored, where my dad grew up, where he pastored, where God called him to preach, where he first preached his first message, where he was saved and baptized. and visited all those places. And in every place, my dad would say, "Well, let's don't get out. Let's just drive through here. There's nothing here." And we said, "No, Dad, we're going to stop." And we'd get out, and all of a sudden, the heritage of his life and his grandparents and parents would come out, and what God had done. We videotaped all of it, and God would just give us a moment at each spot. I mean, it was just an incredible. We finished standing two little spots that I'll tell you. My granddad never owned a home until the last 4 or 5 years of his life, and he bought a little old frame house that wasn't worth much, but he wrote in a little biography statement. He said, "It's a humble home, but the Lord is with me." And in that home, to me, which that's where I remember my granddad most, was one of the most blessed places I ever knew. It was just a simple thing. And then the last place we went was, we stood by a creek in Lavaca, Arkansas, which is a little farming community, where my granddad was in a meeting in his church that he preached, where 177 people were saved, and he baptized 108 people in 63 minutes.
Wow.
And 1,700 people came by count into the pasture where he baptized at Vashgash Creek.
Wow.
So we're standing down there, and it was just a God thing, moment. And that happened a couple of times in my dad's. My granddad pastored small churches. But we were all standing there by that creek, and I thought, you know what? We need to walk worthy of our heritage. I mean, there's God has invested things here, and we need to be faithful to carry this on.
And in the Old Testament, it talks about writing on the foreheads of your children, passing on those things, and we have a way. What you guys have done, I think, is just tremendous. Both my parents are gone. My father died when he was in his 50s, and I was young, and my mother died a number of years ago, and I wish that I could have. There are a lot of things I wish I could have found out from them that I know now that I didn't know then. And one of the saddest things, I think, is for someone not to know and find out, because once they're gone, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's not to put anyone on a guilt trip, because, like I said, my parents are gone, and I didn't even know basic things of my own race, from my parents. But so nobody needs to be on a guilt trip about that. But I'm just saying, if you do have that opportunity to take your parents and just say, "Hey, tell me what happened here," even if they're not believers, to understand where they came from, I think is a healthy thing.
Let me tell you one other thing. My brother Tom said he was standing at the graveside. He was a missionary in Zimbabwe for a while. He was standing at the graveside of an old Zimbabwean man, and another Zimbabwean pastor came up to him and said, "Tom," he said, when an old man dies, a library is burned." Isn't that a great story?
When an old man dies, a library is burned.
Yeah. So we need to seize, whether our parents are believers or non-believers. We have learned from them. There's stuff we need to know.
Yeah.